Hello and welcome to another edition of the RDFNL Footy Show, looking back at round 9. Of course, this is thanks to On Time Delivery Solutions. I'm here with Melton and Murrell, Sunbury Master Rangers Star Weekly journalist Tara Murray. Thanks for joining us, probably for, the second last time for a little while, because you're going on hiatus for a bit, which is good.
It is. The season's starting to heat up with some really good results, but I'm going to go heat up literally. I'm going to get out of this cold weather and I'm going to head over to America for a few weeks, and then I'll come back just in time, see the last few rounds before finals, and then really get back into it.
It says might have a little bit of a lull anyway, and then you'll come back and teams will be too busy jostling for that last spot in the top 6 or spot in the top 2, and all those positions requiring a little bit of a shake-up. There's still more development to happen there, and one of the big games to start off with that sort of had a bit of involvement in that one was the game between Wood Heskett and Romsey, and certainly ramifications of that game were pretty big in the context of season 2017.
It was. For both sides, it was really important in trying to... They both want to finish in finals.
Yep.
You've got Romsey obviously come off a disappointing loss against Riddle the week before, and you've got Woodend, who was starting to build with a couple of wins, but they needed probably to get a win against a side above them, and for that, to put that pressure back on those sides that are slightly above them, because you've got Riddle that's also in that mix. Romsey's another one, and other results have now pushed Sunbury Kangaroos back into that bracket as well. So obviously you've got that. Romsey's got the win, they bounced back, and I tipped Romsey and thought they would get over the line. From what they'd shown earlier in the season, there was no reason not to doubt them.
And I backed Wood and Heskett, my old boys, and look, I think for the most part of the game they were right in the contest. And watching the game, it really did have the billing as one of the matches of the round, because the game went for goal, probably for the first maybe 13 goals from memory, and then Woodend broke the duck and they managed to kick back-to-back goals. I think they put it about 10 goals apiece. Cam Arnold was in fine form in the first 3 quarters and a little bit. He kicked 5 goals. Tom Gawthrop was marking everything that went his way. But then there was a little bit of a surprise packet who kicked after kicking 3 goals in the first half. The great man Jack Jedwab decided to kick 5 goals from the late part of the third term and into the last quarter to basically turn the game on its head, and a 27-point win for the Redbacks.
It was, and he proved to be the difference in the end. At 3/4 time, that game could have gone either way, and obviously Jack's really stepped up and got the win for the Redbacks, and they sort of need that to keep in touch with that top 6.
And it was Jack's first proper game up in the forward line as well in season 2017. He has been playing more at centre half back this year, and unfortunately the Hawks couldn't find a matchup for him. They had Dylan turn on him for a little bit, so good to have the 2 young guns there. Then they put Jesse Shepherd onto him, but nothing could work. And the pinpoint precision passing there from the Romsey midfield was fantastic, because they put it in a space and Jack led with confidence and he kicked with confidence, and that certainly played a bit of a role. And I will take the opportunity to bury the young fella, because I was hoping to have a chat with him after the game. He said no, gave me absolutely nothing. So now I'm on a bit of a rampage here. I said, well, mate, we're going to make sure you get fined by every media outlet in the RDFNL as payback. And he said, yep, that's fine. So look out, Jack, we're coming for you. No, it's all. He's a good kid, and the great family, the Jed Wobb family. So certainly good outcome there for the Redbacks, and still. From my personal sake, I did find it interesting seeing Darren Goodwin line up in the Redbacks colours. I'm not used to it yet. And we're running around the number 28. I'm just like, it just doesn't work, Darren. So interesting there. Anyway,
but he has provided a bit of experience for the Redbacks, and I think with Jack kicking 8 goals, it sort of shows a different element for the Redbacks. They're really good wins against Rupert's Wood and Diggers Rest were both low scoring affairs. This has shown something a little bit different, that when there is more goals kicked, they can also get over the line. Yep,
exactly. Next game we'll look at is Wallen Diggers Rest. Diggers Rest winning that one a little quite comfortably. So look, that's how do you sort of measure that for Wallen in particular? Because they've faced a few big sides in recent weeks, and they just haven't been able to take the wins that they probably need to make themselves a force in the competition.
Like, going into that match, I thought it was going to be a test for both sides. You've got Diggers Rest came off a month of playing sides towards the bottom of the ladder.
Yep.
Easily accounted for all of them. There was no worries at all after, and that came after losing the Romsey game. For them, it was testing what they've been doing the last month against a stronger side. Wallen was with them for the first quarter, but then they weren't able to match it for the rest of the half. Diggers Rest just did what they needed to. Obviously, there was times Wallen showed they can play well, and there was glimpses, but the Boroughs limited that. Quickly got back on top, and found a way and won quite convincingly in the end.
Now, we talk about renovations in the competition, or just something to sort of change things up a little bit. We did see that here because we did see a bit of a change up in the coaching scenario just for this one game, and all for a good cause too. Tell us what happened at the Borough.
It was, so obviously it occurred once last season as well, but Sean Sims stepped aside to be an assistant coach for the day, and Shane Bishop took over the role. Obviously, it's part of the development of Shane as a coach, and it's something that Sean's very passionate about, getting other guys opportunities to coach at that level. So he's taken over the coaching reins. There possibly maybe another game this year that happens. So it's development for Shane, but it's also probably good for the boys. They've had the same voice the last few years, so it's just the same message and someone else delivering it.
Yeah, great initiative, and hopefully we can see more clubs maybe explore that, because it is, and we see it happen in AFL, sort of assistant coaches getting an opportunity to maybe lead the odd press conference and so forth, just to get that experience and exposure to the role, because it is all about developing the next batch of coaches for the future. And no doubt Sean would have had those opportunities as well, even when and probably more of a leadership level when before he took on the coaching reign of the senior team.
It was, and obviously you mentioned now a lot of your pre-season games in the AFL system is coached by assistant coaches these days. So it is something that's at an AFL level, and it's good to see it's at a local level as well. And obviously Sean sees Shane as a coach in his own right somewhere in the future, whether or not it's at Diggers Rest or somewhere else, but it's getting local talent and getting them ready for that next level.
Great to see a few of these few ideas being bandied around. Obviously, on the RDFNL Facebook page, we did a little bit of a story on Romsey's new clash jumper. So it's great to see some new ideas coming around. I know Diggers Rest are looking at those similar sort of avenues for the future. So if clubs are going to take go with a few new ideas to help develop the game externally and internally, absolutely bring it on. I think it's great for them. And speaking of club that's really come along in leaps and bounds, and you spoke about it last week, but a team the calibre of the Rams heading into a game as red-hot favourites. They did take on Broadford. They beat them by 17 points, but it was a good, hard, close game and great for the competition.
It was, and I think probably the early thing, the Rams' inaccurate goal kicking.
Mm-hmm.
I think
12-17.
Yes, there was a number of teams this week. I think there was in 3 matches that there was inaccurate goal kicking that has could have put games to bed a lot earlier or actually change results as well. So, but for the Rams, they got the job done, and that was the key for them. Obviously, being favourites, that's something they're not used to. Obviously, having not won a match last year, so they've gone into that match in a game they're meant to win, and they have won. So that's 2 wins for them this season. Obviously, a lot better than last year, and it's showing they're still developing. They are getting along. They are getting those extra results.
And the club's doing great guns. We know Broadford are working hard behind the scenes, but the Rockbank Football Netball Club, they had their first Club 18s win on the Friday night as well, in their third outing as well. So there's a bit of celebrations going on around the club, and especially on the back of the A-grade side coming back from the dead to win a game, win their first game, and that was against Woodend Hesketh the other week. So we're starting to see some good success here for the Rams, and no doubt that Broadford will be looking at it as a club going, well, knowing that Rockbank have had its struggles on and off the field, but there is a chance that this is the product. If you work hard, get the right people involved, some good things can happen. You get some good results. Exactly.
Probably the Rams were where they were 12 months ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the Rams had no A-grade netball. Their football was struggling on the field, struggling for numbers. Now they've got an A-grade netball side that's come off which has had 1 win. You've got your senior footy team that's won 2 games, and they've got plenty of numbers that they've actually started a third open age side. So, and for Broadford, they were competitive.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, they've got to be competitive these games. They were really competitive, and they pushed the Rams on their day. They might get a win, but obviously, so it's going to be interesting there how it is, but it's positive signs for the Kangaroos.
Kick 11 goals in a game from where the Broadford side has been at this year, I think is a great testament for their hard work around the games. Another big game on the weekend, which probably didn't draw too many surprises. It was Macedon's convincing win over Melton Central's by over 24 goals. The Cats just keep kicking, don't they? They kept doing all the right things in the season 2017.
Oh, look, that was no surprise. No surprise at all. I tipped Macedon to have a very, very big win. They did exactly that. You had Jason Cook up forward again, star.
Kick 8 goals.
Yeah, and you can't stop that. Obviously, he outscored Melton Central's well and truly by himself. So I think it was what Macedon had to do.
What does it say about Melton Central, though?
Well, I spoke to them a couple of weeks ago. They know they're nowhere at that level. For them, obviously, it's about being competitive in games and eventually turn it into scoreboard pressure. That's the thing. There is times they are competitive, but they can't put it on the scoreboard. They're struggling without a real key forward to help kick goals. Obviously, you look at the other end, Macedon's had Jason Cook that's kicked 8. Melton Centrals doesn't have someone down the other end who can kick a lot of goals like that. So for them, obviously, it's just been competitive.
Yeah, and I guess they've Macedon have done that sort of damage to a lot of sides this year anyway, so going out and having big wins. So it just says more about where Macedon are at and maybe where a lot of the teams in the competition are at the moment. But I think it's probably more talk about where Macedon is that season in season 2017. A far superior side, a quicker and more slicker side than what we've seen in the past.
It is, and definitely, and I saw them a couple of weeks ago, and they're probably the most classy, quicker side I've seen this season.
Another big game, Riddle versus Sunbury Kangaroos. The Bombers 15-point winners, but bad kicking is bad footy, and Sunbury Kangaroos, they know that. 2 goals, 11 in the first half. What was going on there, Tara?
Obviously, I didn't see the game, but speaking with Jamie Elliott of Riddle, and he said they were lucky that the Kangaroos didn't kick straight, and they missed some easy shots. So for a side that wants to play finals, you can't kick 2 goals, 11 in the first quarter. Obviously, they have a very, very poor record out at Riddles Creek.
Yep.
And they didn't really improve that at all. You look, for Riddle though, they got the win done. They've kept that pressure up. They had a really, really, really pressured game against Romsey the week before, that final quarter when they blew Romsey out of the park, and I think surprised a lot of people. They kept that pressure going, and they're starting to gel, and as Jamie was saying, the more experience they've got together, the side's starting to really, really connect, and that was really a big win for them. You look, the last 2 weeks they've knocked off Romsey and they've knocked off Sunbury Kangaroos. They're not sides that are below them on the ladder, they're sides that are now around them on the ladder, and they've won 4 in a row, and they've moved into that top 6. They're equal 5th with Sunbury Kangaroos, so obviously with the other results, you've got Sunbury's 5th, Riddle's 6th, and you've got Romsey's 7th, all equal on points. It's only percentage difference, so they're really among that mix to play finals.
It's scary how tightness it is on the ladder. Just a quick one, would you think Riddle are a chance to maybe upset the apple cart and have the sort of dream run that they had last year in the finals?
Look, I'd hate to play them for finals.
Yep.
You've seen they've still got quite a few players who have played at that level, and I think they've got nothing to lose this year. They're a young side. I think they've had at least 15 players play their first senior match this season, which is unheard of.
Yeah. To
have that many, and obviously if they make finals, they'll be looking to knock someone off, and you never know what will happen.
Last game, Rupert's Wood just too strong there for Lancefield. Lancefield paralleled the Macedon Melton Central's game, really. It
was what we expected there. I think probably the big surprise came in the netball there with Rupert's Wood knocking off Lancefield in the A grade, and then Lancefield's B grade side actually drew with Rupert's Wood, and Rupert's Wood's B grade side hasn't lost a match in a couple of years, so the netball was more interesting there with a couple of results probably weren't expected, but obviously the football side, I think you sort of what we expected. I know Sean Hetherington was again in the goals,
kicked 6 goals,
and I was going to say he's dangerous, and you look, I think there's probably 3-4 times at least that he's kicked the 5 goals. So if you've got someone like that, you need to shut him down if you're any chance of winning.
And he's not a genuine full forward either. He's almost in the Jason Cook sort of mould, or is Jason Cook in the Sean Hetherington sort of mould. They're both can play in the midfield, both impact players, sort of shorter, very quick and very classy by foot.
Exactly, and they provide different options up forward. I know you've got both sides have quite a few forward options, and they provide different ones, and they're the ones who are sort of finding a lot of the ball and kicking those goals.
Certainly shaped up to be an interesting round in the RDFNL. Tara, thanks so much for joining us looking back at the last round, and we look forward to catching up with you later on in the week to talk about this week's huge games.
Thanks for having me.